The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
All right, what a fun day this is going to be because we've got a first here on the podcast. First of all, I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead, in case that snazzy little intro didn't give it away, or maybe even the title of the video. Mm-hmm. But we are doing a paranormal podcast, but we're also, for the first time ever, we're doing it with a regular listener. It's our pal, Dan ASHDOWN. Dan, how are you, man? Did we lose him again?
No, he's there. I can feel him.
Did the ghost get him?
He may be having a pair.
Dan, can you hear us? What is it?
Yeah, just about. It cut out on Dan.
All right, so we got Dan on the line. Dan, how do we sound to you? Can you hear us?
Yeah, pretty good for most of it, but keeps cutting out every now and again.
Oh, man, what in the world? Well, Dan is calling from the UK. Well, actually, I should say I'm calling because we called him. But we're calling from America to UK, so there might be some internet issues there. But we're going to try our best to talk some paranormal schnit with our good pal, Dan ASHDOWN. First of all, Dan, how you doing, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Just for having me on it.
Yeah, man, we're glad to have you. It's always cool to. We've really never talked to many listeners other than the ones that will Snapchat and stuff. So it's cool to actually have a conversation with the listener.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've experienced a lot of paranormal things over there in your neck of the woods, from what you tell us.
Yeah. Basically, I've been experiencing that kind of stuff. Well, as far as I can remember, and apparently even before then, I've been told about a lot of stuff from when I was a kid that, I have no memory of. But apparently since I was born, basically, I've been having all these sorts of weird things happening. And yeah, a lot of it is kind of think, you could probably explain that away. But there's a lot of ones that just kind of, you just think there's no way to explain that, not normally.
Those are the ones that I am super interested in. I'm interested in all of them, but it's always. And so you pretty much, you really didn't have a choice. So I think it's safe to say you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, it's like it's a bit of a weird one because the older I'm getting, like I'm a big believer in science and all that. So if I can try and explain away anything, I will. But where I've been around it my entire life, it's kind of hard not to believe it. If you get what I mean. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Well, JP talks a lot about transdimensional beings, which is you could find some science behind that. So who knows? Maybe the paranormal or the spirit world is more of like a dimension that's kind of,
Well, you know what they say, magic is just science that we can't explain yet.
Right.
So, I think there's a lot to that.
Was that on a movie?
Yeah, it's probably a comic book or something.
I was really, as I said, it sounds like something from
it's like Tony Stark has said that to Doctor Strange before.
Okay.
So that sounds really familiar to me.
Yeah, I feel like I'd heard that. So, Dan, you've heard our experiences on the podcast. JP pretty much has none.
No, I haven't had any. Ghosts don't mess with me. I don't know if I'm too intimidating or what. But
it's because you're so muscular.
Maybe so, man. I burned that sage or whatever, and it just keeps them away from me.
It might just be the gut. The gut probably freaks him out.
It could be.
I'm telling you, JP doesn't have too bad of a gut. But so Dan, what? Give us some, man. Just like lay it on us. Give us some of your experiences. I always love hearing people's supernatural one-on-ones.
Well, to be fair, the one that probably stands out the most to me, I must have literally been it's probably only about 14, probably at the time, and I went out with a couple of mates. We were going to stay at one of my mates' his grandparents. They have this massive house, Jewish family, absolutely minted. They've got this it's about a 4-story mansion, something like that, probably about 15 bedrooms.
Wow.
They were away for the weekend, so they said, "Oh well, he said to Doug, a grandkid, said, you can have some friends around, have a sleepover, just don't trash the place, basically." So we're all excited. There's only only 5 of us there. But yeah, basically we hung out in this massive mansion, made the most of it. And I remember in the evening it was all kind of settling down a little bit. We decided to all stay in the same room, and it was right at the top of the house, like 4th floor, tiny little guest room, 2 single beds, space on the floor for a pull-out bed and all that. So one mate in each bed, 2 of them were on the floor, and I decided to take the armchair. So I was just sitting in the armchair, just chilling out. Lights are out, it's pitch black, we're all having a laugh. And I'm looking over in the direction of my mates. They're on the left of me. So I'm kind of looking over to them, we're having a laugh, and just out the right-hand side, like right-hand corner of my eye, I just see something standing there. But I wasn't quite sure what it was. I thought, oh, maybe it's like a coat rack, or, maybe there's just something there I haven't seen before. So kind of tried to ignore it, and then a few seconds later it just looked a little bit closer. I was like, okay, well, coat racks don't walk around on their own as far as I know. So unless it's some sort of antique one that I don't know about, but I turned around and I had a look, and there's just this guy, he must have been about his 60s, something like that, just standing there, tall guy, fairly big build, he's probably about 6 foot odd, wearing a suit, really straight face, proper serious face on him, like short, darkish, like kind of greyish hair, like blackish greyish. I could see him in full detail. So then I think, shit, there's someone in the room with us. Someone's broken into the house. What am I supposed to do? So I just turned around to my mates, like, can you guys turn the light on for me? They're like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And as I'm talking to them, this thing's just getting closer and closer. I'm saying to them, guys, look, can you just switch the light on?
Like, guys, hit the light, damn it, hit the damn light.
Like, guys, just turn the light on. They're like, yeah, okay, just give me a minute. Guys, put the light on now. You can hear them fumbling around. And so, guys, just put the fucking light on. So suddenly the light goes on, and I turn around, there's nothing there. They're all looking at me like, okay, what's going on with him? Something a bit weird. And I was like, right, yeah, I'm not sleeping in this armchair, so I piled in with a couple of my mates on the bed and the floor, and I was just like, you know what, Spirit, this may be weird, but I'd rather not have that guy staring at me all night.
Yeah. Well,
so,
JP's going into the woods next weekend and going to share a sleeping bag with one of his friends, and he didn't even need a ghost to make that happen.
That's
so I don't blame you one bit.
That's just for body heat, but nah, man, that's wild. So this ghost was like creeping up on you, getting closer and closer.
Yeah,
a very benevolent spirit or malevolent.
That night there was nothing else about it. I just didn't think anything of it. I went home the next day and I just kind of ignored it. But a few days later, I went to the park with my mate and we were playing football, and like English football, so it would be soccer to you guys, but
yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about soccer. I get confused.
Yeah, but over here we call it football. But, yeah, so we're up there playing football, and it was about, the park was about a 20-minute walk from the house or something. So we played like most of the night. As soon as it started getting dark, streetlights coming on, I thought, I'm going to go home. So I started walking home, and I just got this really unnerving feeling. So I kind of like stopped and looked around, and there's no one about. It's pretty quiet. So I carried on walking, and I could just hear like these heavy footsteps behind me. So I stopped and I looked around again, and there was nothing there. And I was just thought, right, I'm just losing it. Obviously, I'm just tired or something. So I carried on walking, and these footsteps were just still. It just sounded almost like if I'd stopped too quickly, someone would have walked straight into the back of me.
It's like they were right behind you.
Yeah, they were literally right behind me, and I just had this really unnerving feeling. So I carried on walking, kept looking over my shoulder. There's nothing there. And so I started getting into a bit of a really fast walk. And then the footsteps were keeping up with me, And then suddenly, at one point, I looked over my shoulder again, and I just really quick glance saw the exact same guy that was standing next to me in that house.
Oh, he followed you.
Yeah, I'd done a double take, and I was like, oh, right, screw this. So I took off running, sprinted home. I got in, and I was out of breath. I was a bit shook up. My mum came out, and she was like, what's going on? I said, right, I had this guy at Doug's nan's house the other day, and he's just followed me back from the park, and she was like, what, like, there's a guy following you? I said, no, but he's not there, but he is. And my mum, she's exactly the same as me. She's seen all this stuff since she was young, so she got what I meant. And she was like, right, so describe him. So I went through it all, 6 foot odd, darkish hair, suit. Describe him. I described his facial details like down to a T. And she suddenly just looked at me really weird and just went, just wait here a minute. I was like, right. So she just ran off upstairs and I went and got a photo album. It belonged to my nan, but my nan had recently passed away, so we got some of her, her photos and all that. And she got out this picture and she showed it to me and said, is that him? And it was the exact same guy. And I was just like, yeah, that's him. But in the photo, he was wearing just casual clothes. And I was like, who the hell is it? And she was like, that's my uncle. He died when she was about 18, so it was way before I was born. Never seen a picture of him before. But I pictured him in a suit, and apparently he wore a suit every single day, and that's the only photo in existence of him not wearing a suit. So even if I'd seen that photo, it still wouldn't have made sense as to why I've seen him. And he was just this guy that I'd never met before in my life, just following me around. But yeah,
that's creepy, man. I mean, what do you sense like perhaps there's ill intent there, or is it just kind of freak you out just because he shouldn't be there?
Yeah, it was more just because he shouldn't be there, and I just didn't know who he was. And then after I'd spoke to my mum and I looked at the picture, and it started calming down. She said, "Oh, his name was Henry, but we all called him Harry as a nickname." I said, he's a lovely guy. He probably doesn't mean you any harm. So then, I'd just do the standard thing of just speak out and just say, like, Harry, if you're following me, I just want to know you're not going to hurt me. I don't mind you being there. Just stop sneaking up on me. It's creepy as shit. All of that standard stuff. And after that, the whole atmosphere changed. And every time I saw him, I felt more calm than anything. And it was more like he was there to look over me rather than to try and scare me, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Huh. That's really interesting, man. I'd love to see if you ever get a chance, if you find that photo again, man, send us a picture of it. I'd love to see what this guy looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my mum's got one knocking around, but if I can find it, I'll send you a picture of it. But it was just literally, he was exactly the same in the photo as the way I'd seen him. And it just, like I say, I couldn't explain that away because we're a family that we don't really keep many photos up on the walls. We don't, there's just not much point. We're like, well, we've got photos of people we're really close to and that, but, not many.
Yeah.
And
yeah. That's,
I think we added them, so.
Man, that's wild. I had a friend that his cousin's house was haunted by their grandmother, and they said some wild stuff happened. Way too much to get into on this podcast, but basically he said he told his dad about it, and his dad said, "It's just Mom. You just need to tell her she's scaring the hell out of you and to stop." And he said that straight up one night something was happening, and he was like, "Look, Grandma, we love you and we miss you, but you're scaring the hell out of us. Please stop." And said, seriously, after that, everything's like every now and again something little would happen, but the severity of it seemed like she genuinely didn't realize how bad she was scaring him. So it's funny how that happened, and then you've got a situation where you kind of told a ghost, like, "Hey, chill out a little bit. You're freaking me out," and it seems to have worked.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you say, it's the exact thing. As soon as you tell them, because if it's someone that obviously cares about you and you tell them that they're scaring you, they're making you uncomfortable or whatever, it'd be like any living person. If someone's making you uncomfortable and they care about you, they're going to ease off a bit. It's just exactly the same thing. But then I started I kind of took that as a good thing, and then I realised that he's probably just there to look out for me. So then I talked to him when I needed him, like when I had tough times, like, for example, when I first moved to the island, I went on a night out, and I didn't really know where I was going. I've been coming here since I was a kid, but only on holiday, so living here is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd had a few drinks, was trying to find my way home, and it was about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I started getting really uncomfortable, and I literally kind of muttered to myself as I was walking, it's like, "Harry, if you're there, can you just make sure I get home safe?" And I just, thought, all right, it probably won't do anything. But yet again, about halfway through the journey, I just started hearing these footsteps again, like same distance away, turn around, no one there, carried on. felt calm, and then just yet again looked over my shoulder at one point, saw him there, just double took, he's not there anymore. And it's like that could have easily been wishful thinking, but either way, if he was actually there, then he's obviously trying to look out for me. So just got to kind of take it as a good thing, if you get what I mean.
That's interesting. I wonder what it almost makes you wonder, like, I mean, because this guy passed away long before you were born. It almost makes you wonder, like, is he watching out for multiple members of the family, or is it just something particular about you that he's watching out for,
Yeah, it does make you think, but it's like, I'm pretty sure me and my mum are the only ones in our family that kind of see things. Like, my dad's always wanted to, so he's bought all of the, they have them Ghost Adventures, all the what they call them, EVP recorders and all that. Never caught anything, so he was pretty annoyed that I could just walk down the road and ghost over there, and he's just trying to record them for years, nothing. But yeah, me and my mum are the only ones that ever really saw him. So as far as I know, he could be looking out for other people, just they can't see him.
Some people do, think that certain folks kind of radiate this light that people in the spirit world will say can see. Like, I mean, not that they can't see other people, but it's just certain people that seem to be receptive, almost like you're tuned to maybe. And they do say in a scientific way, some scientists theorize that we're just vibrations. And maybe it's that you vibrate on just the right frequency between the two worlds that they can actually kind of visit our world through you. It's always fun to ponder kind of why certain people have that experience or seem to have more active paranormal activity when some have like absolutely none.
Yeah, I mean, like I was brought up getting told that by my mum. Like you say, it's almost like if you're able to see it, but you're kind of switched on to, like you say, that frequency, that level, whatever it may be. As soon as you do that, you're more or less like a beacon to them. As soon as they know you're noticing them, they will all notice you. So you're then more likely to see loads of, even spirits that you don't know, just because they know that you're the best chance at them being seen. So if they want to get a message across or whatever, they know that the chances are you're going to see them, you're going to hear them, so you can, try and pass on whatever they're trying to get across.
JP, what do you think, man? I mean, as someone who's never, you had that one experience where your ceiling tried to suck you out of your bed.
Yeah.
But
it's almost like a salvia trip.
Right.
But,
aside from that, man, what are your thoughts on things like this?
Well, I mean, I think different people definitely can perceive things differently. Like you can hear music and then play it on a guitar. I hear music, I can't do a damn thing with a guitar. Just different people's brains, I think, can pick up on different stuff. And like you said, vice versa. I'm sure someone in another dimension or plane of existence, can pick up on stuff from you. Theoretically speaking, I mean, who knows?
And then you're just on the wrong frequency.
Could be.
Or maybe what it is with JP is that these ghosts see what he does in his private time when he's alone, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not fucking with that."
Yeah, I probably wouldn't approach me either.
They're like, "Oh, I've seen his search history. I'm not haunting him."
Yeah, I doubt there's many ghosts as pervy as me. So
he'd be way into the idea of banging a ghost. So I'm just gonna skip on and maybe go haunt Justin or Dan.
Well, Matt, you remember like Matt Crowder talking about the succubus experience? Apparently, some specters are into like getting you off and sucking out that sexual energy.
Well, Dan Aykroyd spooned one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. Dan Aykroyd apparently spooned a ghost, which is probably not what the ghost wanted. The ghost is laying there like, really?
Yeah.
I'm here, and all you do is spoon me?
Who knows, man? That's crazy.
Comfiest bed it's been in years, and it's got some guy pressing up against it. It's probably not going to be happy.
Right. And he's like, man, I've been waiting for this moment forever. I'm in bed with a celebrity, and all I get is a spoon. But man, so Dan, are those the only two real? I mean, have you had any more experiences with this guy?
Not so much. As I kind of got older, or like I don't know whether it was as I got older or whether I got more, comfortable where I was in less like scary situations. It just kind of seemed to,
So it's almost like he could sense your anxiety and knew kind of when you needed him.
Yeah, almost like he was just more or less trying to comfort me. It always seemed to be in times where I was stressed out, or I was, like I say, I was a bit on edge. I could basically call on him, and he would, he'd be there, and I'd, instantly feel better. But
that's interesting.
As I got older, it's not so much. I mean, I still call out to him every now and again, but don't always get anything. But
yeah, and I think as adults we have so many more distractions in our lives. We probably not as in tune as what's going on around us. On an esoteric level.
That's why I say they think like children and babies even are more on the right frequency to experience paranormal stuff.
Right.
Whereas adults, there's so many things that kind of tune you out.
And even like dogs and cats and stuff, stuff that just live in the moment.
Right. That's what I'm trying. That's my spiritual growth. I really, as an adult now, I'm trying my best to learn to live in the moment. I think that is, as human, I think that's one of the hardest things to do is to live in the moment. 'Cause you're always thinking about bills, or you're going out with your friends, or you got kids, whatever. There's always something to take your mind off of what you're doing. I mean, even like sitting here now, I'm thinking, okay, when I get home, I got to take the laundry out. How do you just tune everything out and live in the moment?
It's tough, man. Drugs and alcohol is usually what does it for me. But, yeah.
That just takes you.
Yeah, man. If I got to shake off all my worries and cares. I just, numb the old brain and try to.
Kids, not to say that that's what you should do. That's just what JP does.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And Dan, man, you're quite the party man. We got Dan on Snapchat. I see Dan's always out having a good time, making me really wish I could take a trip over to the UK.
Yeah, we should come down at some point. Like I say, it's not a massive amount to do here. It's mostly pubs and beaches, but if that's your kind of thing, then...
You just said my key word there, man. Beer and beach. Like really, for me, that's the dream, going to the beach and having a beer. That's it.
Yeah, we could find like an Airbnb, man. It probably wouldn't be that expensive of a trip.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
This is basically a holiday island anyway, so pretty much everything here, like accommodation-wise, putting yourself up in a hotel or B&Bs and all that, they're all pretty cheap because they're constantly looking for people to come down.
We should try to make that happen.
Price goes up, but
once we've made our Peru trip happen, we should try to get out to the UK.
Yeah, JP's finally going to drag me out to Peru. We're gonna have some spiritual adventures.
That's right. Go to the shaman and
I don't
travel
know.
to the other side.
I might not make it back.
No, you'll the ayahuasca, man. It's been done for thousands of years. Dan, you should rendezvous with us in Peru. We can all go to the ayahuasca clinic and break on through to the other side.
Let's make it happen.
Bring Harry with you.
I was gonna say
we'll probably all see him.
We might all tune into the right frequency and be like, "It's Harry."
Yeah. Let's all rendezvous in Peru.
Have like this whole deal. Which I was talking to somebody said, what the trips last like 15 minutes.
Well, that's DMT. Ayahuasca can actually be like a few hours.
Oh, I feel bad. I thought ayahuasca were like a tribe of people.
No, the ayahuasca is like it's the only way to ingest DMT through your stomach. Your stomach produces enzymes that neutralize DMT, but the shamans figured out a way for you to drink it, and it absorbs in your body. And yeah, it's like hours, man. Sometimes you throw up, have diarrhea.
That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's not meant to be fun. It's meant to be a journey.
I thought we would just but scratch that. I might be going to the UK. JP might be going to Peru alone.
Nah, we'll all rendezvous in Peru. We can podcast live from Peru. It'll be great.
No, I'm not.
The only way you get me to do that is if I'm having a couple of beers and then you just slip me a shot of that ayahuasca. It's a tequila.
It tastes awful, so you definitely know you were getting slipped the Mickey, so to speak.
I have that with Sambuca, so it's okay.
That's weird. Like dudes usually slip something in your drink to take advantage of you physically. JP slips something in your drink to take advantage of you spiritually.
That's right. You'll come out a enlightened person. It'll be great.
I don't know about enlightened. He'll definitely be a changed person. I think anyone who gets drugged by someone against their will is never the same.
No, your pants will stay on, so don't worry about that.
I'll watch your drink for you, Dan. Don't worry, I got you. But I told Dan if he ever makes his way out here where we're at in the States, that I would definitely, we'd have some beer. I'd get you down. We definitely would have a beer and some steaks.
Oh yeah.
I
you
think
never know what might happen.
I think it needs to happen. I wish See, man, I would love to do like a big. We're fortunate. We have a lot of our listeners are from all over the world, but it's one thing I would love to do a meetup, but I feel like we wouldn't be able to meet up with half of our people because they're so far away.
Yeah, dude. I mean, even some in the States, we got some in like Texas and Utah, around Skinwalker Ranch. Our buddy Derek. Yeah.
If you came to the States, Dan, where would you want to visit? Like, do you have anywhere that you've thought about you'd like to visit in the States?
I'd love to. Always wanted to go back to Kansas City, Missouri, because when I was a kid, I actually lived there for a year. I don't remember it.
Oh wow!
But, really?
Yeah, when I was born, we flew out and we lived in Kansas City.
There's a great song. It was written by Bob Dylan. But it was discovered in some of his, it was never made into a song, I don't believe, and it was found in this collection of his, I think he auctioned them all. I forgot the whole story of how they got it, but anyways, there's a song called Kansas City, and it's by the lead singer of Mumford & Sons. Johnny Depp plays the guitar on it. And there's a few other musicians on there with them. And look it up, man. That's what he's talking about. I'm going back to Kansas City. You should. That fits you perfect.
Yeah, I'll look that up.
Yeah, it's got the.
I'm fascinated.
Yeah, Johnny Depp on guitar. He plays kind of this baritone guitar. I can't remember I used to know all of the story behind how they got the. Because basically they made this whole album called the Basement Tapes or something, where they had different musical artists come in and do these Bob Dylan songs. But yeah, there's one talking about going back to Kansas City, and it's got the Mumford & Sons lead singer and Johnny Depp on guitar.
There you go.
Johnny Depp's.
I keep meaning to check out, actually. Apparently Johnny Depp's in a band at the minute with, I think it's Alice Cooper.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, something like Hollywood Vampires or Vampires of Hollywood or something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Johnny Depp, Alice Cooper, and then there's a couple of other people, other famous people as well. But
I wonder if he ever plays in Jack Sparrow makeup.
I would think so, man. He's got the Jack Sparrow tattoo, so I'm sure he probably does, man. Puts the bandana on, does the whole thing. Maybe
he plays Blow character.
Oh, man. Maybe so. I don't know.
It was prime Johnny Depp right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so Dan, have you ever had any sinister ghost experiences? Because it sounds like your uncle was just kind of there watching you, which in that house you never know. He might have been coming to you to let you know, there's other bad stuff in this house. Mm-hmm. But have you ever had anything like sinister come after you?
I've had quite a lot. The one that stands out the most, I've got basically two that stand out, and one of them was. I was with my mate Doug again, the one whose grandma had the massive mansion. And we were walking from Halstead, where I lived, back to... So I lived in a place called Headingham at the time, and my mate Doug lived in Halstead. And it was, it was about a 20-minute drive, but we used to just walk everywhere, just because, we could. So we decided to do this 2-hour trek from his back to mine.
Oh, wow.
It was starting to get dark. And we're walking down these little country roads and all these back lanes and stuff, and we're like, okay, it's going to get a bit dangerous because if a car comes around these windy roads, doesn't see us, we're dead basically. So he said, let's take a shortcut. I was like, okay. And so he said, we've got to cut through this little lane, but let's just try and get through it quickly. It's like, why? He said, it's just not a very nice place. I was like, right, okay. So it's this really dark, narrow little lane. You could basically just about get one car through it, and even then they'd struggle. There's trees over the top, embankments on the sides, proper steep embankments. So you're basically just in this trench, covered by trees, completely pitch black more or less. And we're walking through there, and he said, "Oh, I hate walking this way." I was like, "Why?" He said, "Just do." Okay, well, that's, not making me feel any better.
Way to encourage me there, pal.
Yeah, just trying to get me to walk through this dark lane. Oh, I hate this lane. It's really creepy. Well, let's walk through it. Cheers. But yeah, we were walking through, and again, I started hearing some footsteps behind me. And this was after the whole Harry thing, so I thought it could just be Harry, so I ignored it. We carried on walking, and then I realised that I could hear basically 2 lots of footsteps behind us. And I was saying to Doug, like, can you hear that? He's like, no, can't hear anything. So I carried on walking, thinking about it. It's probably just maybe an echo or something because it's so sheltered. But we'd stop, they'd stop instantly. There'd be no reverb, nothing. And we carried on walking, and I had a look over my shoulder, and I saw what looked like this like 6 foot odd guy, absolutely built, like really massive guy. His face was covered, couldn't see his face, but it was just bowling behind me, wearing all black. I was like, okay, that's unnerving. So I like jumped, looked back, nothing there, but we could still hear the footsteps, so we carried on shuffling along. Next thing I know, I felt like I've just been hit, like round the back of the head. So I'm holding the back of my head, and he's like, "You all right?" It's like, "Yeah, I just literally feel like someone's just picked up a log, just twatted me round the back of the head with it." So I'm, carrying on walking. Next thing, I just all of a sudden get this sharp pain in my stomach, almost as if someone's just punched me in the gut. So, like short of breath, but proper winded, and he's just looking at me like, "Okay, let's just hurry up and get out of here." So I started feeling really uncomfortable. Then that all started fading away. We're rushing through. We're still only about halfway through this lane, and I just felt suddenly like I was burning. My skin was burning, really, really badly, almost as if I was actually on fire. So I just said, right, I don't like this. We started sprinting. Still hear these footsteps, almost like they're chasing us down. Get all the way out the lane, and I'm just there. I'm freaking out. I'm like feeling really emotional, like nearly in tears. I'm like, I don't know what the hell just happened in there. That was intense. I felt like I was actually just getting jumped. He was like, "Yeah, that's why I don't like going down there." It's like, what? Like, has that happened to you before? He was like, "No." He said, "Not exactly, but there's a horrible story about this lane from years ago." I was like, "All right, okay." And I wasn't from that kind of area, so I'd never heard anything about it. Basically, this girl started chatting to this guy at her school, and this guy had a girlfriend. The girlfriend got a little bit jealous, and basically got her cousins, these 2 massive guys, to stalk the girl, start tormenting her. And one day they followed her down this lane, and she was trying to run away from them. They started gaining on her, and then they took it a bit far, and one of them whacked her around the back of the head. They started repeatedly kicking the shit out of her, and then eventually they basically tied her up in the lane and burnt her alive.
Oh my God!
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and they basically, the girl that organised it, she got sent down. The 2 guys got sent down, but it was this whole long thing. Apparently, they were trying to figure out who did it and all this, and they, like I say, they eventually caught them. I think they got life or something like that. But yeah, basically that had happened years and years prior, and I'd never heard anything about it. And
so did you? JP's kind of one about that. Kind of is like I believe in. I think I believe at least. I like the idea of residual energy, just kind of like an energy being trapped in a place. It almost sounds like it's, even if it isn't necessarily a ghost, like you're kind of feeling the negative residual energy in that place.
Yeah, I mean that's what I felt it was more like. Because as for like the poor girl that was the victim, it's not like I saw her, I heard her, or anything like that. And the people following me, it's not like they could have been ghosts, because I mean, as far as I knew from what he told me afterwards, it sounded like they were still very much alive, locked up in prison somewhere.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as if I was actually seeing a spirit or anything like that. It was, like you say, it was like residual energy, almost as if I was feeling exactly what this girl had gone through, as if I was in her situation. And it's just, that was the most horrible experience ever.
And you said you got kind of emotional. I mean, I mean, really, the more and more you described it, and then once you mentioned that, the girl being burned alive and beat up, it all just kind of came together. Like, wow, this seems like you kind of were living in her shoes in a way for a little bit.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible. And like I say, like the emotions in that after, it's just like the feeling of being absolutely terrified, and like I say, all this pain. Like I say, to the point where I'd had the wind knocked out of me, a sharp pain around the back of my head, the actual physically feeling like I'm on fire. the whole thing. And like I said, I'd never heard anything about it, and I didn't even know that lane was there. But apparently, the other thing he didn't tell me as well before we went down there is everyone's told to stay away from it, and it's actually nicknamed Devil's Lane. And it's just like, that's kind of something I would have liked to have been told before we'd actually.
Yeah, you know, if I'm going to go walking down the Devil's Lane, you could at least give me a heads up.
Yeah, not just, this lovely little country lane that's not scary at all until we're halfway through it. A little heads up would have been good.
I did have a friend one time take me somewhere, you know, like in his little town or whatever, and we're walking around at night, and like I said something about, man, it's kind of got a creepy vibe back here, you know, and he goes, well, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to freak out, but actually a dude hung himself like right over there, and I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me that before we hit the street and started walking this way? He's like, because I figured you might not go. And I'm like, well, you got a good point.
Yeah, my mate he was a lot like that. That wasn't the only time he'd done it. He also took me, and it was me, him, and our friend Bailey. The three of us went to this forest. We were staying at his one night. We went to this big forest, and he said, it's a really creepy forest, but it's so cool. So we got there, and we just kept hearing all these noises, and we were all hearing them really deep in this like dark forest, getting uncomfortable, and kept seeing things like the back of the forest, but we could all see it, and it's just odd shapes, looked almost like people walking around. And then Doug was suddenly like, oh yeah, I just remembered we shouldn't have come here. It's like, why? It's like, oh, they do a lot of like rituals and sacrifices up here, like some sort of satanic group.
Like what?
Deer and stuff. And I was just like, why did you not tell us this before we walked in it and gave us a choice? You wait until we're in the middle of the forest and don't know our way back out.
Yeah, like you couldn't tell us that rituals and sacrifices happened here before we came. I think you need to find a new friend.
Yeah, we're just looking and thinking, so we're seeing things walking around in the background. And as far as we know, that could be some sort of satanic cult person just looking for another sacrifice. And we're just standing here in the middle of the forest staring at them. It's like a bit of a heads up, again. But,
yeah, that's what JP and I have. We definitely want to start doing some, like for our channel, we really would like to do some urban exploration, and there are a few cool spots in town, but it's such a small town. I feel like everyone would know you were in there. But we've said, like, if we do some like really creepy places, I mean, we're definitely going to go. Yeah. We're definitely going to go ready for a fight in case it happens. I mean, I don't want to go in there and meet anybody, but I'll be damned if I'm going to be somebody's satanic sacrifice.
Yeah.
Or at least if I'm going to be an easy sacrifice.
Dan, is there a lot of that kind of activity around your parts, like Satanist stuff going on? A lot of cult activity?
No, not so much. Not so much in the island. It's all pretty quiet here, to be fair. Although this island there's a lot of very old buildings, very haunted buildings. This is apparently the most haunted island in the whole of the UK.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
It's got a big history of smugglers and stuff like that. It used to be notorious for actual smugglers, pirates, all of that sort of stuff over here.
So you are now living in what is considered the most haunted island in the UK.
Yeah.
That is super cool. I mean, it could be terrifying down the road, but to hear, that's pretty cool, man. So I'm sure there's lots of like folklore and cool history in that area.
Yeah, there's a lot of they do like ghost walks where you literally follow a tour guide around and they take you to all these different locations, tell you about the history of each spot, and like all these creepy ghost stories. And like a lot of them haven't been proved to be real, but either way, it's more of a tourist attraction just to try and scare people. But a lot of them are true stories. It's just how far, like how much it's been stretched, you don't really know.
And I wonder, okay, so being we are from different countries, I wonder, so for me, I don't know why. Maybe it's because, like as a kid, I always, even though I didn't really have a crazy amount of supernatural experience, I always found it interesting. And for me, I used to watch a lot of ghost shows, like real life ghosts or scary, most haunted places in the world. And for me, the ones over in the UK always seem scarier than the ones over here in America. And to me, now as an adult thinking about it, I'm like, what, that probably was because I was a kid and the UK was a very unfamiliar place to me. So maybe that's what made it seem scarier. But does it feel the opposite way if you watch like American ghost stories or?
I don't know. It's like, what kind of programs are you talking? Like Ghost Adventures and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Ghost Adventures with that really that's the one with the really jacked up dude that's the host, right?
Yeah, just like walks in and is like, oh, yeah, let's try not to annoy the ghosts. And he's just strolling around the rooms like, suck my dick.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. So, yeah, no, to be fair, that's probably my favourite ghost, like paranormal TV show, Ghost Adventures, just because the way they go about it. But they always seem to get creepier results on the English ones. Like, I don't know if you guys get Most Haunted over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they get creepier results. And they visit places that have like much darker histories and all that. I think it's just literally because I think people in our country accept the fact that most of our country's history is really dark, really, violent, and just, so it's not going to be, just a tragic accident or stuff like that. It's people literally going around slaughtering each other over territory and all stuff like that. Because, back in the olden days, this country was full of nasty bastards, basically.
Yeah, you guys. Well, and it's like, and you got to think of how long of a history you have too. I mean, America's only been a nation since the late 1700s, whereas you guys have been going for a really long time. So, I mean, you've got that much more of a history. I mean, we definitely don't have a squeaky clean history either. We've done our country's done some despicable stuff, but I guess you guys have it's been going, so long. And I mean, a lot of times when you visit some old castles and things like that, you get some really creepy results.
Yeah, it's like down where my dad lives. My dad lives on the mainland. He lives in Hastings. And like, have you guys ever heard of like the Battle of Hastings?
Yes, I have. Probably on like a TV show or something, but right. Yeah, it rings a bell.
Yeah, he lives literally about a 5-minute drive from the main town, because you've got a town called a town called Hastings, and then I think the other one's like Bexhill, and they're all right near each other. But the battle basically spanned between the three towns. And they've got the main castle in battle. They've got it marked out where, like one of the kings was killed. It's like shot through the eye with an arrow or something.
Oh, wow.
They have the exact spot marked out, and they have the whole history of it all. And so you can walk the entire battlefield, and it is creepy. Even in the daytime, in the middle of summer, you'll be walking around the field, and you can just feel how kind of uncomfortable it feels being there, just because the history and that of it. It's just, a lot of it's very, very kind of dark stuff.
And see, I find that interesting with like residual energy, because you hear that a lot, even for people who don't believe in ghosts or people who don't know that an area is supposedly haunted. You will hear them say, even if they don't see anything, they'll be like, I don't know, man. When I was there, I just got this really uneasy vibe. And I do believe we have instincts in us that pick up on things. I mean, like, it's been crazy, experiments to show that sometimes it's like we know when we're being watched, even though we can't see the person. Like, our instincts are attuned to pick up on something. So sometimes I do wonder if, like, an area like that where a lot of people are killed or a big battle takes place, if there's not just this energy that hangs there, like even paranormal, or not even necessarily like ghost per se, just like an energy, you know what I mean? Like it's a really interesting concept, because you hear that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. You really, like you say, you really can feel it. Just even if it's just like your hair's standing up, all your hair's on end, anything like that, it's almost like a basic instinct that you feel it before you even know what's happened. Yeah, it's an odd feeling, but I think most people get that, to be fair.
Yeah, I've known people that weren't
ignore it or not,
Yeah, I've known people that were not really into ghosts or didn't believe in them or whatnot, but they still would go somewhere and be like, I mean, I don't think it was ghosts, but I can tell you when I was there, man, I don't know what it was, but I had this weird, uneasy feeling the entire time I was there. And I'm like, it could be an energy, you know what I'm saying? Like left behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Dan, my friend, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. It sounds like you got a lot of stories, so I'm definitely, if you're down, I'm down sometime in the next week or two to maybe do a part 2 with you. Would you be up for something like that?
Yeah, I'll be more than down for that. I've got like a whole, like I say, I'd normally just try and focus on the ones that I can't really explain away, and I've still got loads more that are just, some are creepy, some are sad. It's just...
Yeah. I want to hear them. I know JP wants to hear them. Well, I think. I can't speak for JP, but he looks very interested. And I know you can't see his face right now, but he focused on you a lot more than he focuses on me when we podcast, so that's a good thing.
Y'all crazy, man. Y'all wild.
But I definitely say let's shoot for a part 2, man. I'd love to hear more stories.
Yeah, it sounds like good. Sounds good. I'll be happy to come back on it.
Well, JP, help me out, man. Let's give him a round of applause.
I'm wearing gloves, so you couldn't hear my claps. But no, I got a little head cold, Dan. You'll have to apologize. I'd have to actually walk out and clear the old nose out for a minute there. But
you realize what you just said to Dan?
What I said?
You just told Dan to apologize to you because you have a stuffy nose.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just rewind the tape. JP says, Dan, you have to apologize.
Yeah, you got to. Nah, but I'll feel better. But it'll be all right.
Well,
but
while we're on record, I'm sorry for your head cold. You know, I'm sorry.
What a gentleman.
I appreciate that.
What a gentleman.
Now, I'm going to go home, man, and warm up a little bit of whiskey and pour some honey in it, man, and it'll taste good.
You could just buy my favorite Jack and Honey, and the honey's already in there.
I want the real honey, brother.
It is real honey.
I've had a glass of that.
Did you say you have had a glass?
Yeah, I was literally just swinging one as we were chatting.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah, I love that stuff.
It's so good, man. Like
I'm nearly out though, which makes me sad. So gonna have to go shop soon and get some more.
Yeah, I actually had the best thing ever. We were at a little shindig last Saturday, and a friend showed up with a half gallon of Jack and Honey and left it. So now it's in my men cave.
So I had the opposite the other week. I went down to see a friend in Essex, where I'm from, and he bought me a big bottle of Honey Jack. I was like, oh, here you go. You know, poured me a big glass. I drank that, carried on the party, went back to get another glass later, and it was all gone. I don't know how much he drank, but
no.
The whole bottle on his own.
You can steal my car, you can steal my money, but you touch my Jack and Honey, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, it's like if my wallet was missing, I wouldn't care, but my Jack's gone.
Right, like, yeah, whatever, it's money, but it's like, my Jack! Well, Dan, man, I hope you have a wonderful day, dude. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us.
No, cheers for having me, boss. It's been great.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon, my man.
Yeah, talk to you guys soon. Take care.
All right, pal.
See you, Dan.
Bye.
What a nice guy. We got to do that again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. We should set it up for next week, man. It sounds like he's got a lot of stories.
I want the part 2.
Yeah.
Such a cool guy. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed. It's always great when we get to talk to listeners. And if you are a listener with some paranormal stories, let us know, and we'll throw you on there too. In the meantime, I'm not even sure what day this is out. Maybe it's out right now. Maybe it's out in a day or two. But regardless, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you for mail calls soon enough. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. Yeah.